And go live. Hey everybody, we're here. I think we're ready. I think we're ready to start this bad boy off. Obviously, I'm Tuma Senpai, and I've got a bunch of people with me today. I guess they'll all introduce themselves.
I'm Eternity Yosh, Pai's teammate. Next.
I'm Brent. I stream twitch.tv/Brent Starcraft.
I don't think the stream is live.
It's live.
Player.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
I'm looking at it right now.
Refresh it, pause and play.
I am
Yeah, it's
refreshing
live.
it.
It's good.
It's definitely live. I'm looking at it right now.
What the hell?
I think you need a new computer.
All right. Well, Optic, you introduce yourself.
I'm nobody, don't mind me.
That's a great introduction there.
Best introduction ever.
And I'm at iMarineTV. I used to play Protoss, or excuse me, I used to play Terran. That's why my name's iMarineTV. Now I play Protoss. I stream at twitch.tv/iMarineTV. I usually commentate all my games, and I'm about mid-master.
Alright, so obviously the show doesn't really have a format, because I'm bad. So I'm the worst host ever, officially. So I guess I'll leave it as an open forum to you guys. iMarine was starting to talk about WCS, so I guess we could jump into that.
I just don't see how this is live. It's not listed in TL. It's not
It's
listed.
totally live.
I promise you it's live.
No, it's not listed in TL. It's not up. It's like, where is it?
Everyone but you is watching it. So
Mavi just said that
It's 47 viewers.
you're very quiet.
That's fast. 47, dang. Crazy.
Yeah, I brought my viewers over, so they were waiting, lurking.
Nice.
Is
All
TL
right.
even? Yeah, TL link is not up. That's why.
all right, so WCS. So there's the whole idea behind WCS was that it was supposed to be a way for different regions to get their players notified or like more noticed, and so they released the list of players that's going to be competing in different regions from Korea. And the list is pretty lengthy. We have in North America Nesty, Violet, the STC, Hyun, Sinner, Teja, Hero, Zenyo, JYP, Alive, Oz, Jadong, Revival, Mia, Ryung, Hart, Alicia, Crank, Sage, and Polt. Doesn't sound very North American to me. I might be wrong.
I think
How
those
many
are
is
all
that
North
total?
American players.
It's, oh god, I'd have to count it up. Like 20, around 20.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 20 of the best players in the world, not just 20 Koreans, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I didn't understand was the last one was like all region-based, and then they go from that, which was like crazy viewership and awesome, to more prize money, but then they don't region lock it, so I don't really understand the entire point of it.
Yeah, I
Like
think
it's
that-
going to be Korean versus Korean versus Korean versus Korean at the finals, so why not just make WCS Korea and not do the other ones? I don't see the point.
I feel like it was almost like they didn't think it was going to be so bad, but then once they realized that it was, they still couldn't go back and change it. So they just kind of have to leave it how it is, and so it's just going to be how it is. It seems like, at least for this year, which sucks. Like I really wish it wasn't like that, but
I think the spirit is to have the best competition possible. So what they were looking for is to have the best games that they could have. So I don't think that they were really interested as much in the story of of a country being represented as much as just the best play that they could get. I think it's the same decision that MLG made when they went with no open bracket. They went for maybe less games or less content, but definitely the best of the best. Nothing. I guess no game's better than what it could be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I go ahead.
but they would have those games just on like the WCS Korea anyways, even if the Korean players weren't switching to like say North America, and then we would still have like the North America scene featured and like really represented. So I don't know. It's super weird. I think I just hope that they change it next year.
I wonder if the community is going to rally behind whoever's representing North America, like embracing them as our, as USA. Like if you look at the USA chants that like Stefano was getting. You know, obviously Stefano's not from the U.S., but he'll get
Yeah.
those USA chants. Are we going to see that same thing? If if Polt is winning the WCS and winning for America or for the for North America, are we going to rally behind him, or are we just going to be like, it's just another Korean?
Yeah, definitely just be another Korean. And
Well,
there's a
I
big
don't-
chance that a lot of really good foreigners are going to get knocked out really early too.
But then again, you have to remember what happened to the last WCS. Suppy got to, what did he make, top 12?
Yeah, but that's, I mean, he wouldn't have ever done that if it was the way it is now, because NA was actually NA. Like, there wasn't, I don't think there was any Koreans playing in North America last year.
He got
So we
subbed
would've-
into NA actually. Like he didn't even make it to the global WCS, but he got subbed in because someone had to drop out. I can't remember who.
Right, so I mean, like, we're not even going to have those stories with this format. It's not going to exist. It's just going to be Koreans versus Koreans, and then it's not going to matter because no one's going to watch that. I mean,
Yeah.
What?
maybe
Everyone's
people
gonna watch.
it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean,
It's like
I'm
a
probably
giant
not going to watch
GSL.
it.
I
Because
don't
I
know.
mean, if I wanted to watch Korean versus Korean, I could watch GSL or I could watch Pro League. I mean, there's so many other outlets to watch the best players in the world play. So
Or you could have watched MLG. I mean, that was basically Korean versus Korean. At least the finals were. I mean, all of the non-Koreans. I mean, how many games did they take off of Korean players total? Like 2. The whole
Right.
whole thing.
yeah, 3 or 4.
Like games, not matchups, but just games in general. These everybody was getting 3-0'd, and it was
Yeah, I mean,
It
when
was
I was at
pretty
MLG,
nasty.
like after all of the foreigners got knocked out, it was just less fun. I mean, obviously the games were higher caliber, but it wasn't that interesting. Obviously, the
Yeah.
last game was extremely interesting. That was amazing, but the other games in between, I didn't really care too much about. It was just kind of there.
Well, we do still have a WCS Europe, which only has 6 of the high level Koreans playing. So you have MVP, Tails, Finale, MC, MMA, and 4GG. And really, the only people who don't belong in there are Tails, Finale, MVP, and then you could argue MMA because he's on Acer, and then 4GG because he's on Millennium, and MC's, well, he's just a global player. So
Yeah.
I don't know. In competitions, it seems like everyone's making such a big deal about Koreans winning, blah blah blah. It should be like that
it's not
because, like,
that. It's that North America is going to have more Korean players than American players.
well. I
well,
think that's
it wouldn't also make sense that everyone has Koreans in a sense would have a disadvantage that they would all have to compete for such limited spots when there's clearly a lot more better players out there. Like,
Right. I mean, you could give WCS Korea way more prize money, but if you're gonna have a regional system, why even have it?
It wasn't the prize money that's the problem. It's just the number of spots there are. Like when I played on Korea, like it's not possible to like get GM because it's just way too active. There's just too many people. Like up until like the top 400 people will be like considered what you say like really good players, whereas in NA it's like not even close to that. It's like maybe less than 100, right? So, the competition is just a lot harder. It would logically make sense they would go to a different region to play better, and that's good for the viewer side because they're seeing higher level competitive play. They're not looking at some random NA player just win it. Like, why would he get the glory when he isn't good, but he only got through because there's no competition? It wouldn't make sense on the competitor's part and the viewer part. There's only complaint on the competitor's part because they want to win but they can't. But that's their fault because they're not good enough. So, no, I don't see what the problem is. I mean, the only problem I guess you could call it is like it's NA. You think it's NA players, not Koreans, but there are a lot of Korean players on NA by default anyway. So
Yeah.
if you put such a strict rule, then it'll be really silly.
And
Right,
even
but
if
for
it
the
was
sake of-
region locked, it would end up to where like the really good, like for instance, say like the Muslim ends up playing some really good Korean player after in the next stage, where we're probably going to still have those games anyways, but it just might be earlier on. But it doesn't. We don't have like the competition between the like really high level foreigners to see then who goes on to play like the better Korean players. It just happens that they will probably play a different one in the
But
North American bracket
if you
themselves.
look at the entire Wings of Liberty, it has been foreigners versus foreigners in like 95% of tournaments. Like it's always been true, and Koreans always stayed in one particular region, and they
Yeah.
send out very little, just little bit of Koreans because they can't pay for everyone, obviously, but they end up winning anyway because it's just It's just foreigners are just not that good. It's just the general facts.
Right, but I
If-
mean, for the sake of growing esports, I mean, we have to sort of grow the North American personalities because, I mean,
It's
Koreans are
already-
really good, but
It's already is growing. Like, I'm not sure if everyone's thinking it's probably not growing, but it actually is.
I mean, it's always
Mhm.
constantly growing. But I mean, to grow it at a faster rate.
Well,
There
I
is no
guess
faster
I
rate.
guess
If you
the difference is all right. So we can either grow it by having fan favorites who just do not win, who are face players, or we can have the best players ever. And I don't think that American or at least the NA scene really supports the latter. I don't think that we're creating those players that play at the highest level. I don't think that that's happening. I think that we have a lot of our highest level players building a fan base by streaming and doing that sort of thing. And if you're playing on the NA ladder and you're just grinding out games, or even if you switch over and you're grinding out games on the Korean ladder, like how much better are you getting? If you're not really focusing your practice, you're going up against random cheeses or all-ins or whatever else, and maybe you're really good at stopping that random that cheese that's really prevalent, but maybe you're really bad at a macro game and you just need to practice that macro game and you just can't find one over and over again, or you're like maybe your versus Zerg matchup is really bad and you play all Terrans and Protoss for 5 or 6 hours at a time. I mean, it's not the type of focused practice that we really need to.
That's why you ask teammates. Ladder is only a sense of practice of just best of ones.
Teammates, they're great, and it's really the best thing to find in a team is community more than anything else, at least to begin with, because you're looking for people you can practice with that are always willing to practice and that have the same goals as you. But that's not what everyone gets. If you've ever been in a RTS or any other clan that's below even the semi-pro amateur level, you'll know that a lot of people are like, oh, let's go play this money map, or oh, let's go play some use map settings. Sorry, I'm just too used to Brood War. But it's too easy to get sucked into that as a clan and to forget where you're going. Because when I originally made another clan, like long time ago, about a year and a half ago, I wanted to create it and create like a professional scene with it. Well, everyone in the clan wanted to go and do their own thing, so I was like, okay. I was stuck trying to improve on my own, and the only thing you have to turn to is ladder. Especially back then, there wasn't even unranked ladder. Like now, at least we have certain tools. I think really there's just no organization like there was in StarCraft and Warcraft 3, where you have certain places you go to improve. Those places existed in those games. They don't exist in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, they did. It's just the only reason why is because you choose to join a team that was based on the community, not basically just in a competitive sense. You're joining more social rather than competitive. There's always trade-offs for that.
I mean,
It's your own free will that you chose that ladder was the only source of practice. And besides, you don't even need to be in a team to have good practice partners. You know how many pros are there that have practice partners from other teams? It's perfectly natural. Like the only reason why is because your sense of contact is just not as big as it's supposed to be. That's just all.
I mean, go ahead.
I think it's just a player side. It's not necessarily the environment that's set up. Like you have to take command of your own practice. Ladder is not the only way.
But I mean,
Yeah,
just for the sake of you can go ahead.
I was gonna say, even if somebody does ladder a lot, if they are having like a specific trouble in like a matchup or a unit composition or something, there's so many people that will just play like 10 to 20 practice games with somebody that plays that race and then fix it and then just go back to laddering after that too. So like, even though people do ladder a lot, I wouldn't say that it's not a good practice.
Well, I mean, I think if you're like master, not GM, I think ladder is pretty good practice because, you get to play pretty much a good distribution of all races, and it's at your level. I guess you could practice a matchup by yourself, but to me, ladder is pretty good practice. I guess at GM level, it's much different because you want to, perfect your play. But
I don't know. I think it's the same thing. It's just we use ladder differently. Like for example, the way I think of ladder is non-stop grinding, essentially. I'm not sure if you guys think about that, but I really think it's just non-stop grinding. That's why there are some people out there who play hundreds of games. There's just some people who play like only like barely any games. Like if you've done something for so many times at a constant set repetition, it's gonna become second nature to you. It's gonna become natural to you. Like for example, like walking. Walking to you is natural, right? Because you don't need to think saying, "Oh, I need to put my left feet, 20 centimeters forward and propel this much force to propel my body forward." It's not how walking works. You just do it because you've done it so many times. In a sense, ladder is similar to that. If you've done a build order, let's say like 500 times, the same thing, non-stop, constant repetition, it becomes natural to you. Like, you know it second nature. You don't have to think about it. It becomes mechanics. That's what ladder is the greatest practice for. But if you're practicing gimmicky things, every little thing that's completely different, you're not practicing essentially. You're just practicing. You're just losing time really. You're just grinding out random games, but it has no purpose. So I feel like ladder is in the greatest sense of practice is mechanics. So either you do an all in like 1,000 times the consistent rate, or you do macro games, nonstop. It's just practicing the same thing till it becomes like a part of you. That's the whole point.
So I'm
Right.
curious. For you, I understand what you're saying. I want to see if this is the same for you. When you're practicing for a tournament, do you just sit there and ladder constantly, or do you find you probably have a barcode that you ladder under, but to try and get the build order to that point?
Every player has a different mindset of how practice works. Like for some players, they would practice mechanics because that probably might be their weak point. And then there's some players out there who are just masters of metagaming. Like they just know the opponent and they know how to react to that, right? So it's not like, you're doing a set plan and you're just sticking to it. A lot of Protoss players are like that, but that's not, and a lot of Zerg players are like that in the macro sense too, but that's not always the only way to go. Like I think metagaming is also a big part of it. That's why if you look at GSL, you have like a set time to figure out your game plan, how to do counter builds and such. So that's yeah. So ladder might not be the only practice. I mean, it's good practice, but it only gets you so far. Like there's only one good aspect out of backfield.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you can practice specific build orders, or you could just practice your mechanics.
Yeah.
Either way, like they can still work for
For
whatever.
the lowest level, I think that's fantastic if they know what they're doing, because mechanics is always the lower level's weakest point. And if they practice like let's say a 4-gate 1,000,000 times on ladder, they know it like instantly. Like they just know it as if it's a part of them. They don't need to think like, okay, at this point I need to do that, blah blah blah. Like, it's like a step-by-step procedure really. That's how you get good. Like
It's kind of funny, like if you do play a lot of games and you do like the same thing a lot with like macro opening, sometimes like you'll like in your head you'll be like, oh, I gotta build this, and then you look and you had already built it because you just did it automatically, but you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, that's what happens to me a lot. It happens to a lot of players a lot. That's why you see a lot of high levels, they have a hard time commentating while play because they get distracted. It breaks their natural mechanics. Like if you look at pro gamers, like I'm not sure if you've been to like one of the previous MLG when a lot of Kespa Koreans came, but there was one area, there was a booth where there was a Marine split challenge, right? And a lot of QXC tried it and he got to like level 20 something off the bat. Like he was really, really good. But if you look at all the Korean Kespa Terrans, they can't even get past like level 12, which was really funny because every diamond player can do that. And the main reason why is because they're so used to their own setup, like to the precise amount that they cannot ever play in anything else if the conditions are not right. So if you look at Flash, like he mechanically has played like 1,000 games in the same condition so many times that it becomes natural that if he is 1 inch off, he will mess up. That's why he brings a ruler, because he is literally having the perfect sub what he does when he grinds games. It's just natural.
Yeah, he tapes everything down and measures everything out. It's really weird to watch.
But if you're a lower level player and you don't know that, and you're not doing that, you're not going to improve, because what you're doing is practicing inconsistency rather than practicing consistency. So
Yeah,
that's why I feel
Armrests.
Yeah.
Armrests are killer. If If you're either used to them or you're not used to them, and then you have them, it's a whole new world.
Yeah,
I mean, I've even found that like headphones versus speakers is ridiculously different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, regarding WCS, like I've said before, I totally approve of like other players going to different regions playing because they're simply better. I mean, yes, I do understand that. Like, let's say NAWCS should be NA players, but mostly NA players are just ladder heroes. They're not better players. Like, they only practicing this one aspect and nothing else. They should never ever get far. Like, it makes no sense. Just like the same sense where an all-inner should not go that far. Like, an all-inner cannot win like after past a certain point, no matter what. It's just that's just how it is, right? The same thing goes for professional level play. Professional level play, it's mechanics can only take you so far. Like sometimes the aspect of metagaming could kick in. Sometimes just smarter play. Like those type of players are the ones that should win. But if you don't let them play and you restrict them to their respectful zone, you're not going to see those type of play in our region. There's no way the metagame will spread. It only will reside in Korea, and so I feel like that's, in a sense of improvement for everyone, I think that's the best way. In the sense of competition, I guess it makes sense for the Koreans to stay their own region and NA has their own. But when there's so many trash players on NA, like they don't deserve it at all. Like, so I'm totally down for it. I'm not okay with that.
Well, at what point do players start making their own builds and start affecting the metagame themselves? I mean, is that possible with?
Yeah. Starting with standard play. The reason why standard play is so good is like it's just an established common foundational build. Like there's a reaction to everything. It's completely textbook play. If you don't know the answer to something, there's already an answer provided for you, right? Like if you're doing this build, there is a reaction to stopping an all-in, or a reaction if they're going really greedy. There's an answer for something. You don't have to think about it. It's just straight mechanics, right? But if you're gonna make up your own build, it usually comes because there's a variation off that standard build. So it doesn't get predictable. But that happens at usually higher level play. At the lower level play, it shouldn't be the case because they can't practice standard then, right? So
yeah,
that makes sense. Although, like when I was gold, like I would do things like open up like crazy numbers of banshees or whatever, and just like, and it worked really well against gold players, but more because they didn't prepare for it. So it was just a hole that was in the current game for most players. They just weren't ready for a cloaked unit to come out at that time. But it wasn't a good build. I mean, like anybody who was scouting or a higher level or whatever would just absolutely crush it. I mean, I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like at some point, is it just, are you like, how do you measure how good your build is when you're only going up against people who have holes in their play?
Exactly. So that's why there's no such thing in a higher level as a superior build. All there is stylistic play. So if you look at MKP, you know what his style is like. Bio, straight up. Now if you look at Goody, his stylistic play is better. Mech. Does that mean Mech is better than Bio or Bio versus better than Mech? It's not necessarily true. So it's not in the sense of superior build or superior composition all the time. But sometimes it's just stylistic play too. But that's where the good part comes in, like later on. But when you're playing like at a lower level, that stylistic play just doesn't generally always happen. It might be ineffective. So that's why practicing mechanics and standard builds is usually the best way, because there's always a reaction to something. There's always an answer that you can follow. You don't need to think about anything. You just do it. So
yeah, and it also really helps with like just getting your APM and your multitasking as high as you can possibly get it. If it's really easy for you to know what you need to have been doing, and then just be like, oh, that's why I messed up, and then you just go into another game and you just work on playing and getting better mechanically. Like you don't have to sit and analyze every little thing that happens, because you're not necessarily like figuring out what sort of reaction you need to do in these certain situations. If you've already done them so many times, you can just jump into the next game and start working on your mechanics some more.
Right. Kind of on the topic of WCS, I've noticed basically with IPL dying and with WCS taking over most of the tournaments, we're seeing a death of the open bracket and a death of the alt free-for-all style tournaments. And I think that really sucks for some of the stories that came out of them. Like, Trimaster was a great story that came out of that at one MLG. And what do you guys think about that? What are your thoughts on the fact that we're seeing a slow but sure death of the free for all tournaments as a whole, other than DreamHack?
Well, I think that personally, the way that I see that is that doing an open bracket, if you've never run a tournament or if you've never been involved in doing an event, doing an open bracket is very expensive. And if you look at just the financials from last year, a lot of money was lost in esports. We didn't grow the same way last year. It was negative growth. So I think that a lot of that is just stemming the tide of lost money. So open brackets are great for story. They're great for, for a long-term growth. But I think right now, I think what they were thinking is, let's get rid of these things that we're losing money on. Look at Axiom just said, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it was Total Biscuit. It was either Total Biscuit or Jenna Bain, but one of them said that they didn't want to do, or they weren't going to be able to do events anymore. That they weren't going to be able to just go to events because they're losing money on them. Live events are very expensive all around, so I think that figures into it very heavily.
Yeah, and on the subject of like, for instance, TriMaster doing really well in an open bracket, and that sort of being a big story. I think a lot of success stories like that isn't necessarily because like all of a sudden this player is just super good and they finally proved himself. There's still plenty of online cups and things like that where people can actually get better and over time do well versus good players in a tournament setting, but you might not have some crazy big flashy thing like in an MLG where you just do really good in this set and you win these games for whatever reason that happens in those games, and then all of a sudden it's a big story. But it's not necessarily that all of a sudden that like TriMaster is necessarily like one of the best players in North America, like it just so happens that he won those games and it was a big story. And so it's not necessarily like, I don't feel that because there is an open brackets, like there isn't a way for up-and-coming players to like participate in tournaments. They just might not necessarily get all this huge burst of fame that they do want. But in terms of money, I think it's not necessarily like a huge thing that it's being cut out. Like it's not, because it costs so much and like the stories aren't necessarily like very lasting. I don't necessarily think that it's like a bad thing that open brackets are not there anymore, because the players that are invited are the better players for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that the games are better. I mean, there are going to be less games, but all of the games are going to be a higher quality. But I personally would like to see the return of an open bracket. I just like to see somebody make it profitable. I mean, I think that's the hard part, is how do you make something like that profitable without, I mean, how much do you have to charge each individual player to actually cut a profit on it?
Yeah, I'm the same thing. Like, open brackets, really important and really awesome, but if you can't make it cost effective, obviously it has no place in esports. MLG said they're going to be doing more online tournaments, which is awesome. I think as long as we have a bunch of online tournaments and sort of, like what MLG is doing, sort of a game battles scenario, I think it'll be okay. Because as long as there's always a way for some, up-and-comer to play in an online tournament that does get actual stream viewers, it'll pretty much be the same thing as open bracket.
The only worry that I have about online tournaments is that they're very easy to cheat in. I mean, look at all of the map hackers that are out there that just exist on, on the Team Liquid forum and on that type of thing. There's a lot of different ways that you can cheat in an online tournament that you just simply cannot do because you don't have access to to those cheats in a in a live venue.
True, but I mean, I think as a community we're pretty good at, having a list of people that simply cheat at StarCraft. So I'm sure that tournaments that matter, they check that list, because I haven't really seen any hacking in an online tournament that mattered ever. I don't know if anyone else has, but
there was an event last year where somebody won a qualifier and then went to a live event. I forget who the player was.
Was that Daisuke or WCS?
I think so. That's on.
I don't think he was necessarily proven hacking in the games that for that tournament, but he was just proven hacking later on, like that account for that energy drink sponsor.
Oh, that's possible too.
Hacking
I
is
don't
just such a misnomer in our community too. Like Dragon's only now getting back to where he can play again, and he didn't. I mean, who else was it? Deathwing. Yeah, Deathwing or whatever his name was. I can't remember. Whoever did all that stuff for, uh, God, what was her name? Violin. Which
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it wasn't even hacking. It was just like him playing. But even that was a big enough stigma that he has been shunned from the community by and large. It's unfortunate because he's actually a very good player.
Or Last Shadow, for instance. You know, he got, you know,
Yeah.
his entire career was basically destroyed. I mean, like, he has no credibility in the community right now. Like, even now, and that was years ago. That was several years ago. And it still is going to haunt him. I think that will always haunt you. I mean,
Well, I mean,
even,
as it should. Yeah, as it should.
sure. I'm not saying that, you know, well, these guys are doing nothing wrong and they should, you know, they should be glorified in the community. I'm just saying, like, this is, you know, it's definitely one of those things that hurts. Well, even like Combat X or Deezer with the sniping and the cheating and the, you know, whatever else that they were doing. Those are two guys that are never ever going to get any respect in the community. I mean, Deezer obviously has more issues than just the sniping and the whatever else, but
Yeah, he just recently got kicked out of his League of Legends team too. So
yeah.
Oh, really?
What happened? What did he
Awesome.
they found out who he was and all the drama, and
Oh,
so
wow.
they kicked him out. And he got. They're planning on going to LCS, I think, and he's not. I mean, obviously, he got kicked out before that happened. So
do? Rough.
Wait, no, he went to the qualifier. He was on the live
He went to
stream.
he got his League of Legends account banned, or one of his League of Legends accounts banned, and I think that's the official reason that they cited. They were saying
But I-
randoming or something. I don't know what that means, but
But,
So I need to talk to you.
alright guys, I'll be
Uh-oh.
back in a sec.
Imran's in trouble.
But yeah, it's really weird too to see that Combat X. You know, he's such a bad mannered player, but he's actually so good. Like
Yeah.
how can you do that?
How can you be bad mannered and be good at the game?
No,
Is that-
how can you? He takes the game so lightly, but he's really good at it. Like the man took 2 games off apart, or was it one?
I think
it
it was
was-
just one, but it may have been two.
Yeah, but he almost took a series off of Parting and WCG. Like, what? Parting was the best Protoss in the world at that point.
Right, definitely. I think that there are players that just do not have to try as hard. I think that there's, you know, I think that's true in every sport. And, you know, whether it's an esport or if it's a physical sport, there are players that are just either, you know, biologically just better. You know, like Shaquille O'Neal when he first got to basketball. I mean, he wasn't trying at all. Like, he's this giant guy who's just physically built for basketball. I mean, that's kind of the way that worked. I mean, obviously he did put more effort in later, but his first like 2 seasons he didn't do anything at all. Like, it was just
Combat X's style, though, also like it's so like with the cheesing in the early game, everything is so limited, and he's like done that so much compared to everybody else that he knew.
you-
Like,
Did you watch the WCG games? They were straight up.
really, they were. Well, I
Yep.
guess I'm wrong. I thought he
I thought he
cannon
cheesed
rushed.
in one of them.
I think there was a cannon rush that happened in one of them, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it failed and he lost the game.
I remember him
the
sitting
ones
in the
he-
booth.
Yeah, like the game or games I can't remember that he took off Parting were straight up.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were legit
So,
games.
so where did we get with the whole Deezer thing? I missed that.
Something about beating off in control. I don't really know.
Did you guys see the interview? Like the Velocity guy,
Yeah.
he interviewed, and it was amazing. It was the
He looks
funniest
like
thing
a
I've
guy.
ever seen.
Deezer looks like a guy I know.
I didn't imagine Deezer like that, but now that I know what he looks like, I kind of understand why he acts the way he does, because like you can see socially in that video, it's just like it's hard for him to even talk to someone that's on on the team.
Well, it is
So
a second
it's-
language too, I think.
It's
Yeah.
a second language, but I think that there's more to it than that. I think underwriting. I think there's, I don't know. I mean, I think that there's some personal issues there that he needs to work out, but I don't know.
But
It's tough to say.
It's I don't know. That's always weird. Is encountering those people in real life, because everyone's a badass on the internet. Everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess I didn't picture him like that though.
No.
Well, I'm a Navy SEAL on the internet, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Navy SEAL and a Green Beret. I mean, I did both, 'cause-
Oh, and the Grandmaster. Don't forget
And
the
a Grandmaster. and Grandmaster. I mean, well,
everyone in this chat is Grandmaster right now.
clearly.
What?
What? Oh, in Twitch chat, if you participate in a Twitch chat, you're instantly Grandmaster. Like everybody who like represents themselves in Twitch chat is either like a really high master who should be Grandmaster and it's just closed or whatever, or they're Grandmaster.
So much horseshit.
But it's weird. I guess like to be Grandmaster, you have to have like this interest in feet. I mean, like everybody's like, please show feet, and that's like the weirdest thing that I see on Twitch. It happens all the time.
Okay, seriously, please explain this to me. Like, people in my chat tell me this. I don't know why. What the fuck? Why do people want to see feet? Like, where's the troll come from? Because, like, the Liquid Hero troll came from, like, a tournament. Like, that's where it started. And then the show feet, like, where did that start? And why is that a thing?
The show feet is a feet
From
fetish
female
thing.
streamers.
Yeah, for female streamers, they would ask female streamers to show their feet, and then it started to slowly like transition from like just a couple of creepy guys who were just like who had to see feet to just into like this mainstream kind of goofy meme.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay,
sure
that makes
90%
sense.
of times, like if you see that in a girl stream, like they're just saying it to say it, don't actually, like they're not actually really caring. If
Oh
they
god, dude, female streams, like, the chat is fucking ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
just sad. It's like,
Dude.
wow.
Way more than female streams, you'll see those people that are like, I can't believe this is Platinum League. Like, you know what I mean? Like, way more in the female streams that say stuff like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
how's the Zerg that she's playing in Master? I can't believe it. Like,
they're so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
That's
that's
like the most common.
I think it's because it's easy to do. I think that's the easiest critique on Twitch is to say whoever you're playing against is bad, or how is this player in whatever league that they're in, if they're gold or diamond or masters or whatever, how is this person there, is something you'll see in all streams. I think that if you're having a bad game, or even if you're not, I mean,
Yeah.
people will
I've
say
done
that because I think that StarCraft is a really easy game to watch, and it's a much harder game to play.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And that's another thing. A lot of people get mad at female streamers, like, oh, you stream and you're a girl, it's unfair that you get the viewers. And I'm just like, man, you really can't say that. I mean,
I'm really upset at your genetic makeup. I'm so upset.
yeah, it's just,
Like that's a step away from sexism.
it's
I
like,
mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry that, like 90% of Twitch accounts like to see boobs. I'm sorry. It's not her fault that she has boobs. It's just,
Yeah.
most people
Well-
on Twitch are, like 15, 14,
Sometimes it's their fault if they have boobs. I mean, if they.
Some-
It's-
Okay, well, sometimes they literally they try to show them on stream. So, I mean, you know what I mean?
No,
They
no,
have
that's
so
not what
much
I'm saying. I'm
cleavage.
seeing sometimes they go and buy their boobs. I mean, that's it happens. But
Now, some female streamers do that, and I don't know where Twitch crosses or draws the line at like how much you can show on a stream. I know that. Remember NSL Lauren? Like her stream got taken down for like a day because she was. What was she doing on stream? She was like making something, and it was in like tight pants or something, and she got banned from
What?
Twitch for like a day.
In tight pants. Crazy.
yeah, it was something weird. Tara Babcock ran into a lot of issues trying to get partnered, if I remember correctly, just in terms of what she could
Really?
show and what she couldn't. Yeah, there's a poster on one of her walls where she did from one of her modeling jobs, and she had to
A lot
put stickers
That
over
makes
it.
sense.
So if you go watch Tara's stream, you'll see the it's on the right hand side of her stream or whatever. There's that picture, and if you go Google the picture, if you go look through enough of her pictures, you'll see the picture. It's just kind of a little bit of underboob, so they made her cover it up with the Steel Series whatever. Like there's Steel Series stickers over it on the side of it.
Yeah, there's actually like
I mean, that makes sense.
more censorship in streaming than there is on television right now. Like, yeah, you can say fuck, but it's not really accepted as much. Like, that sounds weird, but the amount of censorship that's on streaming in certain aspects is really ridiculous. Like, I think it was, who was it? The guy that TV is sponsoring, Protoss player, British.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, like, as Twitch, like, let's say I'm 18 now, but I used to be 17. I can't accidentally, let's say I'm a girl. If I slip a titty, that's not just bad for my stream. I mean, Twitch can get in serious shit because that's child porn. So, I mean, there has to be a very strict standard for Twitch. Like, you can't just, there's absolutely no nudity, and for swearing, that's just up to you. Like, Destiny, he swears, I mean, like, religiously, and he gets a bunch of viewers, so...
I don't think it's swearing so much, but I mean, the other is definitely... I mean, it's Twitch's house. They run this house, right? So they can do whatever they want, and they're building the only streaming platform. I mean, they're becoming the monopoly. And it's not because nobody else is trying.
Bling was the one I was talking about. He got his
Bling,
stream taken down for drinking on stream or something, and they got hammered on stream, and Twitch got upset about it, and they took the stream down. And he got
way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember
really
after
weird.
Home Story Cup? I think it was 5 or 6 on the
I think it
B
was-
stream. I was watching. They were doing Looping Louie, and every time you missed, you'd had to take a shot, and they got fucking plastered on stream on the Home Story B stream.
Or
Well,
Like,
I mean,
the yearly
that's an
state of the
amazing
game?
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but all I know is he was talking about it because it was when that whole Stefano mess happened. He was talking about it either on his stream or on Stefano's stream to Stefano about how Stefano had to really watch what he was doing because he got his stream taken down for just getting plastered on stream or something.
And then there's that guy, the shirtless, is it...
Calls.
No, Galsy too, but there's a shirtless, I think World of Warcraft player. I think that's the game he plays. I forget what game it is.
oh
It's
yeah,
not
why
StarCraft.
did Galsy get his stream removed? Because I saw that he wasn't streaming for like his Twitch account was gone for like a month.
He got hammered and got butt naked on the stream.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
It
That
for like
deserves
2
ban,
seconds
yeah.
before it got taken down. I was like, what? I saw a little preview and I was like, what the? It was really funny. It was like his birthday or something.
Well, that makes more sense.
That does not surprise me. I mean, as odd as that is, that doesn't surprise me at all. But there was another guy who got his Twitch account banned. I don't know what game he was. Somebody linked it to in my chat when it was on. But he turned off his stream and he didn't realize it, and he started looking up anime porn like on. So it was just like his camera wasn't on, but it was just it went on for like half an hour before an admin shut down his page. It was the weirdest, creepiest thing.
Wasn't there that World of Warcraft streamer that like invited like
Yes.
had sex with his
Yes.
girlfriend on his stream, dude? And that's crazy.
I went to
That's
school,
so
my friend
bad.
said he was watching the stream and it had like 200,000 viewers or something. It was like something ridiculous.
Whoa, crazy.
I was just like,
Was it Wreckful?
yeah,
or
and
something?
then he has like a blog and he said I texted my girlfriend and she asked how many viewers it had and he said like 100,000 or 200,000 whatever and she never texted him back ever.
Oh, that's awesome. I hate to say it's
Yeah.
awesome, but it is. Like that
It's messed up for that
kind
girl.
of stuff can still.
How do you like?
dude,
That's messed
it
up.
sucks for that girl. That is messed
Yeah,
up. Like
I don't
She
know
never
if you
signed up
remember
for that. I mean, as a streamer,
Yeah.
you know, with a camera in your bedroom or whatever, you kind of realize that that's one of the things that can happen, and you just you signed up for it. You bought the camera. You turned on the stream. You understand what's going on.
I mean, he's really lucky she didn't file a lawsuit and get serious damages out of that. 'Cause,
Yeah.
that's
that's
illegal.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how you go on with that. I mean, that's pretty rough. I mean, wow. I mean, I've been caught before, but in front of 200,000 people or whatever, I don't know. That's
Wait, what do you mean you've been caught before? Wait.
what people have walked in while I've had sex. I mean, that's something that.
Oh, I thought you meant when you were streaming. I was like,
Oh no.
Oh dang.
That would be that'd be rough. No.
Yeah.
Not on stream. I'm just saying like
Plus, it's
you
not like-
just like
You know what I mean? Like imagine somebody like the person that caught you just coming in there and then just like staring at you.
right, exactly. They're staring like they don't announce themselves and they're just like
yeah.
and they just like they hang out and they're just like they tell you the next day they're like that was fun last night, that was interesting or whatever, like
break brought to you by
Yeah.
Storm Legion. More information.
Oh wow.
What was that?
What was that?
I was I'm looking up the
video?
World of Warcraft streamer. No, not the video. Just trying to get a name.
Is there a
apparently
video? Just link me on Skype if there's a video. I don't put it on stream, obviously. But
Yeah, I'll let
because
you
I just
know,
want to know what went down. But
Yeah.
Here,
News.
I'll put the link up instead. But this isn't the video, but this is like a covering of it. Actually, I'll just put it up in the stream chat so everyone can see what's going on. It's a news coverage. But yeah, it's stuff like that still happens, and it's something you have to be very careful for. I hate to. It's a weird way to put it, but stuff like that happening gives it streaming a sense of closeness that I think we all still kind of cling to, in the same way that we cling to people who interact with their chats. We cling to people who don't just sit there and grind. Like, I watch Sase stream because he'll talk to us every once in a while. And, you know, he's one of the better players in the world. I mean, he's not top tier anymore, but, you know, you still want that level of interaction, which you just don't get with traditional media. And I think that's very, very important for anybody to have that streams, and anybody that wants to put any effort or time into a stream. They need to have that. And they can't just ignore their chat. Even if Destiny said it best on Unfiltered, even if you get past the 3,000, 4,000 person mark, you can't do that. We still have to have a level of interaction, unless you're just inherently highly entertaining.
Yeah, I think the interaction, I don't think it can be forced interaction, though. I don't think it's just something where you can just say, well, this is on my checklist of things that, you know, that have to happen. I have to have a webcam, so I turned on my webcam, and I have to interact, so I'm going to interact. I think that it has to be, you know, it has to be something personally that you take seriously. I think that it has to become a part of your character if it isn't already, or hopefully it already is if you're planning on entertaining on this medium. I think that if you're in a live medium like this, where you can see your audience, or at least see what their thoughts are, because you can't see their pictures or their video, but I think that you have to embrace all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest problem. I mean, because I embrace literally all of it, the negative and the positive. I embrace those trolls, and I put them on a spotlight, and I'll call them on Skype and stuff, and all that stuff has to end completely. Like,
yeah, you really should stop doing that.
But that's good though. Everybody loves it. I mean, at least the trolls love it. I don't know. Like, I think everybody loves it.
I don't.
It's getting to the point though with your viewership that some of the people in your stream may like it, but it's when you get to a certain point, you can't do that kind of stuff anymore, and you're almost to that level. Like before you had any notable amount of viewers, you may have been hovering around 20, 30, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that goes over well, like real well. But now you can't give into that, because it's almost like you're becoming a media personality and you're moving and shifting into that spectrum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's my take on it, at least.
Unless
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
Destiny, then you can do it like pretty much every week.
Destiny's a lot smarter than I am, though, so I think
saw
he can get away with it.
Destiny.
Yeah.
He had like in his raid call, he had like a debate going on between like two teams where they're debating. I can't remember what the topic. Oh, it was like, should there be a fat tax on airplanes? And they had like a 30-minute discussion, and they had like a poll at the end of it, and like there was like a team captain and stuff. And I don't know how any of these people like got chosen or anything, but there was like 10 people on each side, and they did like this crazy debate back and forth, and there was like 4,000 people watching the whole thing.
Well, I mean, of course there should be an extra fee for being fat. I mean, if you take up 2 seats, pay for 2 seats. I mean, where's the argument there?
Tell that to Kevin Smith, man.
I don't get the argument. Like, you need 2 seats, so pay for 2 seats. You're paying for 1 seat on an airplane. So if you need to, pay for 2. What, like, really?
I just think airplane seats should be bigger, so I disagree with the whole idea.
That's completely another argument, though. I mean, if you pay for 1 seat, you better damn well sit in that 1 seat and be able to fit in it.
But
and
you
if
can't
you better buy a 2nd seat.
You can't sit, like, if you buy 2, like, you would really need 3 seats. You can't buy 2 seats and then, like, sit in the direct center of both of the 2 seats.
You can on
because it's not
Southwest,
actually
because I watched somebody.
Southwest.
Yeah, I had never seen it before. I don't really fly that much, but the guy next to me actually paid for 2 seats, and they lifted the armrest, and he just sat in between the 2 seats. Like, he just kind of sat over on the edge. It was odd. So I guess
maybe if you're big enough, there's enough support all around to where it really wouldn't be an issue anyways, if there was like a little like crack there, you know?
Oh, okay. So Mike, you have some disco balls behind you, and that reminds me, the leak just came out for the new Daft Punk single. You guys should go check it out after this if you get a chance. It's really good.
All right.
But yeah, I just had to throw that in there. All right, so back to start.
Cutie Pie wants me to say hi to him, so hi, Cutie Pie. I don't know. I always feel like he like needs the attention. I don't know.
Your Pie Brothers.
Right.
That's really funny. What were we talking about? We were talking about.
We were gonna talk about
Stream
what stream
interaction.
sniping versus or something like that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. My feeling on it is that sniping and cheating are the same animal. That it's just to a different degree. I think that if you snipe, that you are already subverting part of the system. The system is to make a random opponent. So if you're doing it, I feel like you're already cheating. To actually watch the stream is, just obviously another level of cheating. But I think that the snipe in general is the first offense. You are already cheating.
True. And when people go like, I sniped you, I'm not cheating, like, how honest are they about that? Like, they might even have your stream open for, like, the audio, and, like, maybe they all tab a couple times during the game just to see what you're doing, but they still tell you,
Well, I mean, it's not even that. It's like, let's say I'm playing player X on ladder, and I sniped him, so I watch this guy stream a couple hours a day. I pretty much know exactly all of his builds. Like, if I'm going to play against him, I'm going to have a lot more knowledge of him than, let's say, some random person on ladder.
For sure.
So, by fixing those games on ladder, it's definitely not good. I mean, if you want to play me, I'm fine with a custom game, but please don't snipe me. I mean, that just ruins it for both of us, because neither of us get good practice.
You already, like, anytime I get sniped and I know that the person's sniping me, it's hard for me not to think, like, oh, he's probably cheating too, like, and even if he's not cheating, he already, like, he knows the build I've been practicing for that day, and there's a high chance that, like, he's going to assume that I'm going to be doing that exact same thing, and there's a high chance that I'm probably going to do that, or, like, I have like 3 or 4 different builds that I might choose from, and it's really easy for him to tell exactly what I'm going to be doing.
I guess I'm the only one with a different mindset here.
Yeah, I have a different mindset too.
Well, go on.
Good.
I'll say mine.
I accidentally hit orb one time when I was laddering, and it's happened a couple times when I was watching streams and I just accidentally hit that person. I'm like, oh shit, and just turn it off. And stream sniping isn't necessarily always sniping that isn't a big deal to me, because when you get to a certain level, you have to be ready. You kind of accept you have to be ready for anything, right? You can't just go in and be like, oh, I have to expect. No, you're going to get metagamed at tournaments, but you're going to get metagamed by your friends at tournaments. You're going to get metagamed by other people that know how you play at tournaments. So it's, as long as they're not watching the stream, I don't feel like it's a problem.
Well, I mean, actually, stream sniping actually gives a very different practice. Because they can metagame you, right? Because they know everything you do, they know what you're going to do. Because they know you. That's good, because that's not ladder-like. That's, if anything, it's kind of like competitive play where they know what you do and they know how to counter you. It's a very rare practice, but people get frustrated at it because it works so effectively.
True.
Because they know.
But when you're on a losing streak and it's in a terrible mood.
That's just a core mistake.
I don't think it's the same thing, because in a tournament, I'm going to know about my opponent and he's going to know my opponent. We're both going to know things, but if someone's stream sniping me, I have no idea who this person is. I don't know what he does. I don't know if he plays macro, if he plays all in, so I have zero knowledge of him. So for him, maybe it's good practice to metagame, but for me, it's not at all, because I have no idea what they do, so I don't have a history with them.
You could practice knowing that they know what you do. Like, because there might be in a tournament setting where it's somebody that you don't know how they play, and they know exactly how you play. So
that's exactly the point.
You can get practice like that, and I guess it could be good, but it's frustrating, especially if the same person snipe you over and over again, and like you don't want to play them anymore. It's just like,
It only puts more emphasis on players that only know like 1 or 2 build orders, and they just get like hard counters. Straight up, that's the reality. It's just you need to know different stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
it
at the
definitely
same
need
time,
different stuff. But I mean, we have streamers that stream from Bronze League all the way up to Grandmaster. So at what point, you know, are you saying that like a silver player should be prepared against all of these different things? That they should have like 16 different builds and like
It doesn't matter because the silver leaguer is not going to stick to one thing. They do every little gimmicky different thing. So it's not like metagaming actually does apply. If anything, stream cheating is a different sense. Stream sniping is completely a different issue.
I don't know. I've watched a lot of silver streams, and there are plenty of silver players that have very consistent types of play, or they have very consistent problems with the way that they play. So
But
if
it's silver league, like
sure,
you
I
know,
understand that it's silver league, but I'm
But-
saying like
but-
you can say that if this game gets into a macro game, this guy's really bad if if he ends up in this in scenario A, if something is unfolding, if he's getting banshee harassed, he has no control over it. Or even worse, if you're sniping and you're sniping on you're sniping a silver player and you're really a masters player, you're just sniping on a Smurf account. I mean, how about that? I mean, what do you think about that?
it's silver league. They're not going to know how to counter one another.
No. I'm saying like, okay, so let's say you got onto a silver account and sniped somebody.
Okay.
Do you think that that's fair?
Because I'm not playing at my according skill level, yes, that is not fair.
And that's what I'm saying is that that is one of the things that happens with stream snipers.
But no, but that's the thing. There are stream snipers usually at relevant levels. They're not stream. There's no GM that's going to snipe a silver leaguer. It's completely stupid. and pointless.
there's GMs that have sniped Timison a lot.
Like who?
Just say, there was a lot of people in like I don't know if it was Clan X or another streaming clan, but there was like they were low GM and they would snipe Timison a lot.
I've been sniped by Deezer, by the way.
Like there's a lot of sniping clans that have accounts at different MMR levels, so they can even snipe people like
Yeah,
Terrapin.
but you just need to know about these or know to play against him. He played against me. All I know is that he's just going to do some kind of timing attack, and I just prepare for it and I win. Like
Yeah, but I mean,
you just play defensive. You don't
the
need to like.
the difference between you being able to hold that off and somebody like me being able to hold that off is a huge difference in skill. I mean, to play against a master's level player or a grandmaster level player when I'm in diamond is a lot different than you holding off something that Deezer's going to do.
I
think
mean,
it
if
kind of
anything,
emphasizes the need for more attention being paid to the fact that you're streaming, so you have a public life basically at that point. So you might have to have two different accounts. That might have to happen, and that sucks. But it's part of the kind of social contract you sign when you go to stream. No matter what it is, you kind of have to accept anything that comes your way if you want to stream. Otherwise, you can't do it. Like that, it sucks, but that's kind of the way it is.
I don't know,
for
you
sure,
just-
yeah, definitely.
Just ask someone for help. You're not obligated to hold stuff in by yourself and just face the frustration alone. There are people out there that can help you.
Yeah. For sure, I agree with that. So, are we done with this topic? Are we moving on?
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Okay.
Anybody-
Go ahead.
I was going to say, does anybody else have anything else they wanted to add or any other topic? I mean,
Not about stream sniping, I don't think. It just sucks. I just hate getting stream sniped. So I don't know. I've had times where I didn't care so much, and I've had times where I have cared a lot. It really
Yeah,
depends.
it depends on the person, really.
It depends
who
if
you
I
get
win
sniped
or
by.
lose, I guess.
Someone in chat wants to talk about balance.
Balance. I don't.
What kind of balance? Like, what
the
matchup?
game, anything.
What do you think? Since you are a GM, so you see the highest level play. What do you think of the balance?
Balance. Everything's fun. Everything's alright. There's just some silly things that are pretty good, but not necessarily breaking the game, like investors.
Still,
It's not. I mean, investors doesn't break the match anymore. There's a difference between a broken unit and a balanced unit.
He's saying break it like Infestors did.
Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah. If I had to say anything, I would like balanced. I think Widowmine needs nerf.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
The AOE has to be nerfed. Not necessarily the damage, the area effect.
yeah.
I think
the
they need a buff.
association range slightly needs to be nerfed.
the AoE has to be nerfed for that. The Void Ray prismatic duration, 20 seconds is too long. It has to be lower than that.
Yeah, it's like 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off or something.
Like
That's
what
ridiculous.
Blizzard the only reason why Blizzard put a timer was so that there's an aspect of micro where you run away when the timer is still, kind of up, and then you engage again, right? But
Right.
if it
and-
lasts for a really long time, then it just saves you time for an extra round of warp-ins. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's too long.
And speaking of the Widowmines, did anyone see the game between QXC and Stefano where QXC just made all factories and massed Widowmines and sent them in random locations around the map, and then Stefano was trying to hold, like, I don't know, it must have been like 15, 20 Widowmines walking across the map at once, like the whole game. And eventually, like, Stefano just didn't have enough money to deal with, like, QXC's late game army. Did anyone see that?
How long
Or
ago was that?
Was that
It was-
Stefano? I know it was in.
Yeah, it was
Playground.
Stefano and QXC. It was like 4 days ago. It was on his
Yeah.
stream.
The reason why I don't like Widowmines is I always imagine it being a defensive unit, but everyone uses it as if it's like siege tank replacement, so
It's
not a big fan of it.
It's the biggest thing is if you get one unnoticed in a worker line and he gets one shot off and then you just don't notice, like maybe you were oversaturated and so it looks normal when you switch back, and then you look away and then all of a sudden your worker line's just cleaned out. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is nice as Terran that it doesn't just one-shot everything, no.
Yeah.
I mean, the Widowmines now, they kind of remind me how Hellions used to be, where Terrans would literally just run in Hellions. There's some Terran players would just run in Hellions and just hope. And, like, most, some of the time they would kill, like, it would be game ending. I kind of feel like that's how Widowmines are right now. Like, there are moments where if you choose to make Widowmines, you can just have really good results.
Yeah,
it's
I feel
too
if
much
you-
luck.
I feel like if like Protoss or Zerg players, like if they pull in time, like once they get used to dealing with it, like there's so many times where I'll do a Widowmine drop and I will get 0 kills. Like probably more often than getting like you'll get 1 or 2, but it's very rare that like I'll get like 4 or 5. Like
Yeah, I mean, I
Well-
think it's a good gamble going Widowmine drops from time to time. I think, it's very hard to not come away from that cost effective, because even the Protoss pulling their probes off for 5-6 seconds, that's, it's 100 minerals, so...
yeah, but it's not as crazy as like the old Blue Flame.
Well, you lose mining time. The player has
Yeah,
to
the mining
micro.
time is good.
The player has to focus on putting like units back into gas. Like it just adds more multitasking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
I
have
must
to
say I
open
love it
Robo
versus Protoss
before
right
it's
now.
banned, pretty much.
So I really hope it doesn't get nerfed.
I don't know. I'm not too concerned about its harass capability. I'm more concerned as it being combat units.
Yeah, siege tank replacement. Kind
Yeah,
of.
just I don't really like that. Like personally.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that you can get, what is it, like a cluster of 2 Widow Mines, and you'll take out just 100 Zerglings or something retarded.
Yeah, you can kill 40 with 1, so I would believe that
Yeah.
you could kill.
I mean, I
around
guess from
100
a
with 2.
spectator aspect, it's fucking awesome. Like, to watch Widowmines in play, like, it's really, really cool. So in that aspect, I don't really want to nerf that much, but from a playing aspect, I think they definitely need to take a little bit of a step back.
At the same time, though, like there's so many ways that you could not take as a Zerg player, like where you could not lose that many Zerglings to a Widowmine.
Well, I
Like-
mean, oh, go ahead.
I could still lose tons and tons of Marines to a couple Banelings if I'm not paying attention, right? Like, I don't know. It probably. I
But
don't know.
Banelings don't auto-activate.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
You
not...
can- you can burrow a
you don't get
Banelane
the
and
same
then
results
You can
as-
burrow a Banelane and have it auto-activate.
You can,
How so?
but you get like a couple...
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
like
seen
it-
some
believe
pretty
you.
big, some pretty big Banelane auto burrows or auto
They can
unburrows.
also move, though.
Yeah.
Did they change that? I always thought you had to, like, personally activate it.
No,
Okay.
you right click on it and autocast.
Yeah, you
But
can...
wouldn't that would suck, though, right? Because then it would just blast on, like, the first Marine and wouldn't be as good as...
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you
it-
lead with Marauders, it's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's up to you if you want to autocast or not, but you can. A lot of times, like one of the early videos on Banelanes was that you would autocast near an expansion. You'd burrow them in a third, and then you'd put 2 in there, and then you'd have them autocast, and you'd definitely kill the worker.
It's pretty interesting.
And then
I've lost a fair amount of games to a really nice Baneling landmine. Not Baneling landmine, but not necessarily fully lost, but definitely changed the tide.
Well, I mean, Zergling run-bys are already pretty terrible in their own right. Like, and I think we can all agree, since there's no Zerg here, let's just trash on them.
Terrible.
No, I'm just messing with you guys.
I don't think Lingwon buys are bad. I think they're good actually.
They're
It
pretty
depends.
No, I mean they're just pretty terrible as far as like the damage they can do.
No, they're.
I mean, I think Lin Mung buys
like,
are a very awesome gamble. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
might get your links force filled in, but like most of the time you can back off and not lose any Zerglings. And there's that one time where you'll go in and kill like 30 probes. So I mean, I think it's a great gamble to take, and it's low
just
risk.
the amount of attention that you have to devote and like getting your reinforcements over there, like it's a good move in so many situations.
Yeah,
At
it's
least in ZBT.
but it feels to me like sometimes mainly in the early game, the Widowmine rushes can be kind of like a Ling run by that happens that you don't have any risk from, because with the medevac speed boost combined with Widowmines, that feels a little broken to me at some points. But you can be safe. You can be safe against it. I don't know. It's just like the Widowmine or the run-bys with Zerglings don't feel broken to me at all. Like, I've gotten so used to playing against them. Maybe that's how Widowmines will be eventually. But right now, to me, it feels kind of broken because I can just straight up lose games because my Robo is finishing as they come in.
Yeah. The thing is though, like they have a downtime for activating, and you know. And you go for
Yeah,
the
I
cannon.
never got that. Like a Baneling one-time use can't shoot air, and it's what a Baneling's like 50-25, and a Widowmine 75-25. So I never understood the repeat effects.
Yeah.
At all with Widowmines, to be
You
honest.
make a Widowmine, you can't make anything else. Simple as that. It's called opportunity cost. It's not the cost of the Widowmine that's the problem. It's the opportunity cost that comes with it.
Just the infinite amount of explosions hypothetically that you could have. I don't know. I never understood.
Well, it's
it.
kind of like that with every unit, you know. Like
That
I
would
could
be
have
like,
an
well-
infinite amount of medevacs, you know. But
I do have to ask, just because I don't know how Terran economy works that well. I've tried playing Terran. I'm not very good at it. The opportunity cost when you do open factory like that, is it that significant against a Protoss if you do 0 damage? Like, I
Yes.
mean, obviously it puts you in a bad position, but
I mean,
what-
against
you gotta get
Protoss-
it anyways.
if you don't
against
get
Protoss
anything
is
but a
different.
pull from the mineral line, if that's all you get for like 15 seconds maybe,
I mean, I wouldn't say it's not worth it.
I
It
don't know.
depends.
I think,
It depends on your build, so much.
I don't know. As a
Yeah.
Protoss, I think it's too predictable. Like when you scout, you'll know it's a 15 gas build or not, unless they have like a wall off like way beforehand. And if you
Yeah.
know that, then all you really gotta do is put units at the high ground. All you need is like a Mother Shakur and I don't know, some zealots or something up front, and you put rest of the units in the high ground because you know the timing is coming. If you know that, then there's really no way Terran can do damage. It's just a really predictable attack.
Yeah.
but in the same token, like if you hit a 4-player map and you scout them last, I mean, this is a minor thing, but if they get the wall off up and you don't know and you over prepare for it, all of a sudden the Terran can be on 3 bases and you're stuck on like 1.5. That's a bad situation to be in.
Yeah, that could happen in every matchup, though. You know, like if I don't, like in Whirlwind, if I don't scout a Protoss in time, then they just have a stalker at the front. I don't get to see anything. I have no idea what's going on. There could be anything. Of course, I could scan, but you know.
But I think we've kind of beat that to death. I don't know. I don't see any problems with balance really, except like I've noticed that there's a new trend late game PvZ where people are starting to finally learn how to use swarm hosts and static defenses, and that's getting really nasty.
Really? I don't really know
Yeah.
much about ZVP. That seems interesting.
It's like
you know?
if you ever watch Cats, he makes like a wall of defense of like spines and spores. So if the toss tries to engage, he'll pull in like a Colossus or Tempest or whatever, and then fungal it, and it'll die to the static defense. But I just think Protoss haven't figured it out yet, because I see it sometimes and I've never lost to it. But again, I'm only like mid-master, so I don't see it performed well. But I think there's probably going to be a way around it if Protoss give it enough time.
I hit it in the tournament like And the last game the second game I beat it with just like it was a Mortal Sentry Archon charge lot timing off 3 base. I think it's creator's timing. You just go, and it ran over it because he wasn't quite ready, and he wasn't expecting it because it's a Wings of Liberty play. But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the next Broodlord Infestor, except worse, because you just sit there and wait for the locusts to go and slowly eat away at the bases. It's really bad.
Well, I don't think it should be happening in 15 minutes. I mean, like, what I'm talking about is, like,
No.
super late game.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It usually happens about 30-ish minutes. So if you play a long macro game and you just, like, it's back and forth, they can all of a sudden be in that position where they can do it. That's frustrating.
I mean, I think the logical answer is just you have to have a certain amount of Tempest, because obviously the Tempest can slowly pick away at the Spore Crawlers and the Spine Crawlers, so got to work that in somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would probably be the best answer to that. If it's just a wall of crazy amount of Spore Crawlers, and you have to break it eventually.
Right. So any other balance complaints?
I think they fixed Hellbats. I think if Hellbats could fit 4 in a medevac, that'd be broken. I think they fixed that.
They didn't. No, they did not fix Hellbats.
Hellbats are pretty good ZBT lately. I've been going Bio Hellbat. It's pretty good.
It's really
pretty good.
to mix into your army late game against Protoss.
Yeah,
Although I don't know
yeah.
how easy that is.
They're
How
pretty good.
easy? Well, you have a factory that doesn't do anything normally in PvP,
Right.
so you might as well make Hellbats out of them, and ta-da, there you go.
Yeah, then all of a sudden charge lots are really bad.
I mean,
It's
I don't
nice.
think they're broken. I think they're really good. But I think if we nerf Hellbats just like we nerf everything Terran, it would be really uninteresting as a game.
I
Yeah,
think we
I
should
don't
go
want
back
them
to
to
4 in a
I like
medevac.
it.
I don't think that would be good, no.
I enjoyed it. I'm just saying, I think that was a lot of fun.
I'm glad they changed that.
I've been experimenting lately about Hellbats in general, and honestly, it's too good. It's too good of a
I
unit.
think so.
Yeah,
They're
is
great
late
for
game.
like if you are making them in either Protoss or Zerg. It's so easy just to, or in TVP or TVZ. It's really easy just to like, just drop them in a mineral line and then put them on hold position. And a lot of the times you can kill a lot of workers. Like if
That's
they don't pull
actually
in
the
time.
only thing that I have a problem with when I face meching players. It used to be Hellion run bys, then I learned how to build buildings so that they just can't run through. Well, people figured out, Hellbat drops are pretty good. So when I hit mech, which is very rarely, they'll drop Hellbats in my mineral lines, and versus mech, you're out expanding them. So I'm on like 7, 8 base, like 4 or 5 mining, and I'm just like, oh shit, and I can't. I'm trying to move my units all around. It's really hard to do. They never figured out to drop in Wings of Liberty, but they finally figured it out in Heart of the Swarm. So that's getting annoying.
Yeah.
And someone posted in chat, and I just thought of this because he posted it. The whole thing that Hellbats can be healed by medevacs. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yes, 100%. As a Terran
Not
player,
From a balance perspective. I
oh, from a
don't-
balance perspective, yes, I think that all Terran units should be able to be healed by medevacs.
No.
Not medevacs themselves, but bring back the science vessel.
Conceptually, I think it doesn't make sense because it's a mechanical unit, it heals, but in a balance sense, it can make sense because medevacs are underutilized in the Starport route. Like you only make Vikings out of it, or maybe a Raven. No one makes medevacs with mech, but if you do that, then it encourages mech to be aggressive. It's no longer a passive turtle style mech. It's
I've had some 2 base all-ins where they make medevacs with their Hellbats. It's rough.
I do a
I
one
mean,
base all-in.
I'm not talking about just like Hellbat drops in general. Like
no,
brutal.
yeah, I mean with like a push, like just
Right.
to heal.
Yeah,
So,
like
has anyone tried doing Hellbat Marauder all in?
No.
I did one with Hellbat Marauder Widowmine against Zerg, and it worked out pretty well. He took 3 bases, and it seemed to just go crush him.
Hmm.
Because he had a lot of lings, and then he didn't have any roaches, or he didn't have enough roaches, and then once he started making roaches, the Marauders cleaned him up.
I could see that running into some mutas.
Yeah, he didn't have mutas up yet. He went 3 base, so if he went 2 base muta, it would definitely get crushed. Like you
Yeah,
just,
it's 2 base mute is so rare though because it's like not very good.
I mean, it's the
They
same.
can't.
It would hit at the same timing as the Hellion Marauder all in, so they shouldn't have anywhere near mutas.
yeah, it was. I hit around 7:30, I think,
That's
7:45.
pretty early. That's pretty early.
Yeah.
You have to get your. You must have to get your armory so early. It's fair. It seems really, really.
Yeah,
And
you just go
Argo-
with a super early armory, like right after factory, before starport. Or well, in this case, you don't do the starport, but I modeled it off of the Hellbat drop all in that I've been doing, where in TVT you go barracks, factory, armory, starport, reactor from your barracks twice. You build 2 reactors with the barracks, one for the factory, and then one for the starport. And then you drop 4 Hellbats on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it hits at like 7:30 or whatever, and most players just seem to die.
Mothership Core Blink Stalker all in is not really a thing anymore. Like it was for a little bit, but too many Terrans go in one base. Nobody does it.
Plus, if you do like a factory build, just being able to pop out a tank with siege already is pretty good.
Yeah, or a Widow Mine that they don't have an observer for.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game at MLG where it was some, I don't know which Protoss player it was, but he won a blink all in against some really good Korean Terran. And the Korean Terran just like, you can actually see their player screen at MLG and you can just watch them just make supply depots, get a siege tank, hold it easily, and just go counterattack. I think it might have even been a foreigner Protoss. Do you remember, Tomb? It's
No,
a
I
really
don't.
awesome game. But yeah, I mean, the Korean Terran like even expanded. I don't see how it's like
I don't-
overpowered
was that
or
MC?
even viable anymore. I don't think so. It wasn't
You
a
can
known
even-
Protoss player.
Oh, okay.
It
You can
was
even
MC.
do-
I remember that game actually.
Was
he
it really?
Held it. Yeah, he held it. But this was before they made Siege like instant, I believe.
Well, it might have happened twice because I know MC did a lot of blink all-ins, but I
Yeah, he did a
don't
lot.
think it was MC. I think it was another Protoss that also did a blink all-in. Because MC blink all-in more than once, right?
Yeah, he did a lot of blink all-ins that tournament.
Yeah.
I know he did more than one.
Because he's really, really good at it.
You can even pop out like 2 Widow Mines before you get a tech lab and then a tank to defend from a blink all in, and still have the siege tank in time to help, like hold it off. It's pretty good.
Oh,
And if you made a starport, you can like I've won a fair amount of games where they're doing a blink all in, and I did a Widow Mine drop on their base, and then like the drop is going on right as my tank's popping out to defend from their blink all in at the same time. It seems to work out pretty good, but I don't know how crisp their timings were, so it might
Right.
just be those specific games. But I've had that happen.
So are you doing that on one base, or do you fast expand?
Yeah, I fast expand. So with the it's a 12 racks, 13 gas, Reaper opening. You make a Reaper and then you expand and make a reactor on your barracks, and you get a bunker up. And then you get a factory at your next 100 gas, and you pop out a couple Widow Mines in case you're going to be going Oracles, and then after you can get a starport if you feel safe. Or even if you don't feel safe, it really depends on your style. You can get out of the barracks if you want. But you can have 2 Widow Mines, and then you can get a tank out if you notice that they're doing the one base play and be totally safe versus the blink all in.
Yeah.
At least from the games that I've had. Maybe I just haven't had people doing really crisp blink all-ins on me, though.
one thing I'm really surprised that I haven't seen is the revival of the 1-1-1 with the Hellbats and Widow Mines and like tanks with siege automatically. I figured it would have came back, but it didn't. So I'm not
What
complaining.
would come
I'm
back?
just saying.
The
The
1-1-1?
1-1-1. Yeah.
I've had some tanks.
I think with the... Or you mean like TVT or TVP?
TVP.
I mean, I think with the new Photon Overcharge, I think it would be a lot easier to hold. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
but-
so, yeah.
It is, but at the same time,
If you pull SCVs.
people are also being even greedier because they have the photon overcharge. So like, if they scout that it's coming and they do go immortals plus the photon overcharge will allow you to defend it pretty well. But if they aren't going immortals, then it's like good luck.
If you do like the marine heavy SCV pull, then I don't see a way to hold it with photon overcharge and like a couple gates, even with a couple immortals. Just because there's so much that comes at you.
Photon overcharge is pretty good.
It is
I
really
haven't
good.
tried it. I haven't tried it.
Also, wouldn't you have sentries up for that as well? So you can just zone them out or contain them wherever they are, like lock them in.
I mean, it depends on if you're playing on a map with a ramp or not. Honestly, like Daybreak would work differently versus on something like Star Station versus something like, because you can block your ramp with the sentries as long as they don't have vision. But if they have vision, then you know there's absolutely no point in trying to force field because they'll just kill your sentries as siege tanks.
Does anyone like Star Station as a map or?
God, no.
It's fine. I like it if it's cross positions, but if it's like close positions,
Yeah, they need to fix that.
I don't like that.
It's worse than what was it?
Metalopolis.
No, no, not worse than Metalopolis.
Was there anything worse than that?
Kulos Ravine came close.
Shattered Temple.
Yeah.
I mean, Lost Temple.
Lost Temple. Yeah.
No, it's worse than what was the game that got, or the map that got taken out of the map pool for HOTS? 4 bases, big map, easy third. Easy third.
Easy third.
Same tile set as
I
Shakuras.
can't even remember.
Are we talking about that ice map? It wasn't. I don't think it was 4-player.
No.
Was it in the beta or was it in the Wings of Liberty ladder?
It was in Wings of Liberty.
So Entombed Valley.
Entombed, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
What about that? Man?
They fixed that map though, right?
I hated that map
they
to start
fixed
with.
that
and
map,
then...
but then they decided to put it back in Star Station, close spawns by ground. Like I didn't understand that. You know.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It's about the
Like,
same distance, and you have a tower in between you too.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think
what?
Star Station's much worse than Entombed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
as far
agree.
as distance, yeah.
I don't know.
But-
Blizzard has never been like great at making maps. I guess like their maps aren't as good as the maps that are made by the community. I don't know why they don't just like take community maps 100%.
Because
Like they don't. you know?
Dustin Browder's children are very good at creating maps. I know they're like they're very young, but you know they're good at making these. I don't know. Like it feels like it's got to
Yeah,
be
I don't
some
know.
kind of like somebody at Blizzard like has a job to make maps, and they're probably like the nicest guy in the world, and it's just like I can't get rid of this guy. He's such a nice guy.
It's gonna be in there, right, Dustin? Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
we'll do
weird.
it.
Oh,
I can
and,
only think of one reason why.
What's that?
Well, the only like if you want to talk in a competitive sense, obviously Blizzard map sucks. It's the reality of it, but sometimes not everyone is competitive. The only reason why competitive maps are good is because you know how to play it, you know how it works, right? So there's a particular gameplay that revolves around that. There's a meta game for that, but if you put like let's say a bronze versus bronze in Whirlwind, like season 1 Wings of Liberty, how do you think that's going to turn out? It would make absolutely no sense. If anything, even though Steps of War is a completely inferior map, it's more suited like towards those bronze players. Yeah, that's just how it is.
I think there should be a separate ladder that only uses competitive maps that are coming from Pro League. That'd be cool.
I think it'd be a good way to monetize StarCraft is if you had if you had the current BattleNet map pool as the map pool, and that's the free to play model. Like you this is what you get. These are the maps that we use. They're awful. Deal with it. And then you would have like a GSL inspired map pool, and then you pay $1 a month or whatever it is to have access to that. Whatever you break it down as far as monetizing it, whatever the server costs are versus, whatever the total costs are, and you figure out what your profit margin is going to be, and then you just do it, and you do that for 6 or 7 different types of ladders. So you have all of these different ladders, so you can play with the people who are practicing for, for whatever event or whatever, and you can play on whatever maps that you like.
Speaking
But that
of,
would-
speaking
go
of,
ahead.
it might go a little off topic, but speaking of monetizing StarCraft 2, like I always wish, for instance, say it was just totally free to play, and like the custom map scene was a little bit more robust. You could have developers develop custom maps and have them charge a certain amount of money, maybe set their own price. and then have Blizzard take a certain percentage of that, kind of like how the real money auction house works in Diablo 3. And that would give developers incentive to make custom maps because they might be able to make some money off it. At the same time, if it was really popular, Blizzard might be able to make a lot more money than they do just from people buying StarCraft 2, just because the way free-to-play works, where you have a lot more people buying it, but it might not be as much money per person.
I do gotta say, I really like the fact that they've poured so much money back into the community. I mean, you look at the amount of money they poured into WCS alone for this year, it's staggering. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So I've got to say, Blizzard's finally taking the right steps, and the way that they're handling it is very much a Big Brother kind of way, which needed to happen though, because every tournament was doing its own thing, and so it became, we all know the story. It became dull, and viewership dropped a little bit, but it was mainly that it wasn't growing, like for tournaments at least. It wasn't growing as it should be, and it was starting to get a little stale. And Infestors came out, and then it got really stale. And
yeah.
And
yeah. Yeah, at the end of Wings of Liberty, it was rough. I really did not like the metagame. I was not having fun.
Do you take? Oh, go ahead.
That week, like when Heart of the Swarm beta closed, and you had to go back to playing Wings of Liberty.
Oh, it's terrible.
Those were not good times. Those were not good times.
Yeah, definitely as a spectator, it's like, oh shit, Broodlord Infestor again. Might as well close the stream now. I mean, it was pretty bad watching major tournaments toward the end of Wings of Liberty. Just watching them go Broodlord Infestor in a PvC like every damn game is so uninteresting.
I played
that's what they
Protoss,
changed
and I
the
couldn't
odds.
even
It was
watch
so
PvC.
awesome.
I couldn't even watch him play
Who was
Protoss.
that?
Like,
Who was that Terran player that lost the GSL? Was it Yoda? And like there was that one moment where
MVP.
I don't think it was MVP. It was. I think it was this year, but like it was on Daybreak, and it was like the last game of the tournament, and he had like a pretty good lead, and then he had a Marine tank army that all got fungled outside the Zerg's base really bad, and then the game just totally flipped, and he lost the whole thing.
I remember the game. I don't remember the opponent, but yeah, that was.
Are you sure it wasn't Life versus MVP in the finals?
Maybe it was MVP. I thought it was somebody else.
Damn, it kind of looks like that for a lot of games.
That happened so many games. You can't really say, well, it was this game. And it's like, oh, what games?
Yeah.
What game did a Terran lose their entire army to Fungals?
That's a vivid memory of it. It's like the epitome of like. And then at the end of the game, he was like OP, 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 OP. Whoever that was, like it was that game.
Oh, the Emba.
That was young.
Yeah.
Okay.
17
yeah.
Embas.
Sad. It was so sad too, because you could see he had just joined Axiom. He was working so hard, and you could see it in his face when he lost. Like, and you don't really see that on Korean. He's just like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You could see that in his face, and it was so sad.
What does everybody think about the Viper? I mean, as far as the is that going to be the next Infestor? Like, is somebody going to figure out how that works?
No. It cannot be the next Infestor because there is a diminishing return for the more you make it. The more you make it, the worse it is for you. So that's why all good Zerg players, they keep their limitation between 4 to 6 as the normal amount. They will never ever. If they go anything more than that, then they're not getting the investment. See, it's different because Infestors, the more you had, the better it is. But the more you have for Vipers, the worse it is. So it doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
because eventually you're picking up Zealots or Marines, and what are you going to do with that?
Well, I mean, you got the Blinding Cloud too. I mean, you can cover the
sure.
whole map.
Well, Blinding Cloud is very much static. It's not like Fungal where it locks them down. Blinding Cloud is very static, so you can just get out of it.
Alright,
How
much energy? How much energy is Blinding Cloud? 100? 75?
I thought
it was 75, but
the point is you can put 2 Blinding Clouds for a Viper. Okay. Now, if you had 4 or 5, it's like 8 to 10 Blinding Clouds. That's enough to just cover the whole field. Why in the world would you have 30 Blinding Clouds? It would make no sense. So.
Definitely.
I had a game where I was playing TVZ, and I don't necessarily think it's like super good, but see it maybe being better in the future. But a guy, he was going Roach Hydra, and he had Infestors and Vipers, and he was fungling me, and then Blinding Cloud, the units that he fungled, and like Blinding Cloud around the units that he fungled, that he didn't fungle. So like, I was just having a really hard time like fighting through these chokes because like I had to deal with fungal in the choke and I had to deal with Blinding Cloud. So like there wasn't really a lot of room for me to do anything because like I was getting units fungled and then other units were getting Blinding Cloud and it was really rough. Like and he only had like 3 infestors, 3 or 4 infestors, like, and a really big army and like 3 vipers, and it was rough. They seemed to work really well together.
I'm wondering if there's not going to come some really great timing attacks with Viper. Yeah, I see that coming up, but I don't see it being like the Infestor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's overpowered, especially PvZ. Like, you have to have Vipers.
Yeah.
If you don't have Vipers, dude, you're gonna fucking lose the game. But TVC, I mean, I don't play Terran, but I can see, like, what if you Blinding Cloud all their tanks and then just rush in? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's if you're making tanks. I guess.
All
I
it
was
does-
doing bio that game.
All it teaches Terrans is to spread out their tanks. That's why a lot of Terrans are not open to the idea of doing back Berserk. It's the only reason why, because they're just too used to. They're just not used to. I guess putting a little bit of micro to back.
And they don't like to have to get just a couple ghosts, maybe like negate some of the energy from the Vipers.
I mean, you don't even need to. You just need like
Or
Vikings.
Yeah,
Vikings.
yeah. Vikings work too. Ghosts work as well. I like ghosts. I like the ghosts.
Tanks are still very good in TVZ.
Yeah, I don't know
You can
why
still
more
go
people.
Marine Marauder tank and still do really well.
The only reason why players don't want to go tank is because players typically ditch making tanks at the very late game Berserk. Like the reality is bio is better versus tier 3.
I think with Widow Mines, it's better with Bio, right? Or no?
I mean, you can just go straight. Like if you're going by the Widow Mine, you're essentially already prepared for late game. You don't really need to worry about anything else.
You just have to make sure you get enough Marauders.
Yeah, you're already set. And on top of that, you don't need to. You're not obligated to go like mech upgrades at all. It saves, if anything, more resource.
Yeah, you don't even need to get your gases at your 3rd for like ever.
Yeah, full bio is
Forever.
good. That's like if you're up to like that low masters to mid masters point, all you really need to do is have really good macro. That's like the first, and knowing. Yeah, I mean, you just could get by with MMM with just really good macro.
Yeah, and not getting terrible engages.
Yeah, it's like it's not mighty difficult. It's just like it's still good. And on top of that, it's extremely good for lower level players because late game they get crushed and because they already have the necessary tech to prepare.
Yeah, and it's also good for getting better because like you can also start doing a lot of drops and like stretching your multitasking and get better at that as well.
But if you use tanks for like, I don't know, lower level players, they feel obligated to keep their army with their tanks. So if they're doing like a tank push, they don't move at all. Like if anything, they stuck. They don't like to move. But with bio, they're not obligated for that.
Yeah,
So
that was good. I like bio. It's fun. It's
I like everything. I like bio. I like mech. I do everything. I do 50-50 and everything. That's a good part.
But what about air?
Air, air isn't itself should be a composition you just brush.
it has
It's
its place.
it's a transition you make from bio or from mech. Like it's like imagine like Pokemon
Protoss.
like imagine Pokemon. No, I'm serious. Imagine
Pokemon?
Yeah, it's Pokemon. You get a Pokemon and it evolves to just one tier, like and then there's a split path that you could choose what evolution you take. But in this case, it's quite the opposite. If anything, there's 2 different Pokemon that can go into one same Pokemon.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a de-evolution. It's like an upside down tree. That's what
Yeah.
Sky Terran transition is.
I mean, that's the race in TVT. Like that's the race.
If anything, Protoss is very Pokemon like. Like you've got your gateway army, and then you got 3 different complete tech trees from there. You've got Sky, you've got Robo, and then you got Templar.
Terran kind of works the same way a little bit.
Or
A little
Eevee
bit.
Sun.
There's just a point where like, do I expand? Do I get extra barracks? Do I add on another starport? Do I get a Ghost Academy and win? But eventually you win them all. Like you want to just get everything. And it's not like close. It's not the same as Protoss, but it's still kind of similar in that matchup. Protoss just has more like control with like what they force the Terran player to do.
It depends on how you play, honestly. Like if you go for the standard, complete, straight up play, then yeah, you're gonna have very little control over the way the game goes, because that's just the way the metagame's developed.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just thinking about like if I'm a Terran player, like I can't make a bunch of Vikings and then just like kill you because you don't have Colossus. You know what I mean? Like where if the Protoss player makes Colossus and I don't make Vikings, like it can get really rough unless like you have
Vikings
like,
are
a lot of medevacs and like you're on Whirlwind and you're like this crazy concave. But you know what I mean? Like you gotta have
Vikings are good if you land them.
Yeah.
They're amazing. They're pretty
do you know
good.
do you know how much damage Vikings do?
More
Plus
than
that-
stalkers.
More than Hydras.
They deal actually insane amount of DPS. Like I remember like one game versus Koss, he had like 20 something Vikings and his opponent, Zerg opponent, didn't go Brewlers anymore. He went to Ultra Tech. He just landed all his Vikings, and surprisingly, all the Vikings could beat Ultras because they're maxed out on upgrades. It's really funny.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is Viper's a good unit,
Maybe
They-
Sky-
or not Vipers, but
like-
Vikings.
Vikings have really shitty HP and they die pretty fast, but if you make enough of them, like they can kill just as fast. They're like Marines; they kill just as fast as they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're so expensive to use them in the same way as a Marine. I mean, Marines are free.
I mean, I'm never gonna go Vikings and then be like, well,
I mean, yeah, like one Marine's crappy,
Charge
but if you
bots.
have like 50 Marines, they're pretty good.
yeah.
But I don't think that you're gonna make a
still-
maxed army of Vikings and like just bring that to the.
No,
So
but
the
it is
Zerg-
really insane though how much damage Vikings really do. I'm pretty sure they really do more damage than Hydras unupgraded, which is pretty crazy considering.
I mean, that's
But-
why in beta they got nerfed.
Really, they used to do more damage.
They used to do a lot more damage ground to ground. They got nerfed for that.
Wow.
I wish they're such a cool unit. Like when they're on the ground shooting, like they're a really cool unit. It sucks that like they aren't used more.
I really
It's-
like.
it's necessary though. It's
Yeah, yeah.
I
it would
like
be
Terran.
weird.
Terran's Transformer race.
Yeah. Terran
Viking
has the coolest
transform.
units out of everybody.
Siege Tank transform. Hellbats
Yeah.
transform. Doors can transform.
No, I just need Battlecruiser to transform.
I won't be surprised if they make like a Transformers like custom mod in arcade.
Didn't they have that as like some April Fool's thing a long time ago?
Yeah, where all of the Terran
Ultron.
buildings.
Yeah.
I think that it'd be cool if the Thor could transition into Battlecruiser. Like if you could just land it like a Viking and they would just switch back and forth.
That
I
was
think
an
it,
upgrade at the fusion
yeah,
core.
yeah, exactly. At the fusion core, you can just make them swap into one another.
Like a
or they
Viking. Just
they
take off.
combine and make
They're expensive. I would be in favor of having Thor's being able to morph into battle cruisers.
That'd be so interesting. Come on.
It'd be pretty balanced too.
It's
I'd
got
say.
kind of ridiculous. Yeah, it'd be balanced.
I think it'd be very balanced. I think it's a good way to go.
Thor, proxy Thor.
You make a ton
Well,
of
let me just
Thors.
get some immortals to counter your Thor.
Exactly.
Oh,
Why are they flying now? You just make
So let's
stalkers.
not do that for sure.
Let's-
Let's make sure that never happens.
If anybody's listening out there that has the ability to do like some kind of custom map to make this happen, I don't know if there'd be an animation.
I used to be a map maker.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I want an
Right.
upgrade for it.
So if we need anything done with Naruto and Bleach,
Well, you've got the job.
but that map used to be really popular back at Warcraft 3.
dude, it was really popular.
Like, you played it?
Yeah, I was heavily into Warcraft 3. I played competitively.
Ah.
What map?
Yeah.
I create back in Warcraft 3. I created a MOBA type game called Naruto vs Bleach, and another one called Third Shinobi Wars. And there's a map, there's a website that would rate how many times the maps are hosted. Dota was always like first. They usually get about 30,000 games per day on, let's say, US East. And then the next after that's Footman Frenzy, and then my map is usually third. Like,
Wow,
just
crazy.
Yeah,
So-
because I remember when Footman Frenzy outranked Dota. It's a long
I
time
played
ago.
Footman Frenzy.
Yeah, it was one of the first custom maps for Warcraft 3.
I think I did because I think I remember everybody just I played this for sure.
Broken,
wonder if they-
broken
I
as
wonder-
fuck.
I wonder what. Oh yeah, now I remember what happens. Some people actually are taking over my map and they're starting over from scratch or something. I remember people giving me like trailer links. I was like, wow, there's a trailer for my game. I didn't even know about that.
That's funny.
You get like trademark rights. You're like, oh, that's interesting. Get royalties. And you're like, how did that happen? If only that's how custom map making worked. So I'm
But,
curious. Did custom map making like affect your point of view towards going competitive at all?
I don't think so. Like before, I was a map maker. I played Brood War. I played Warcraft 2, and then when Warcraft 3 came, I thought it was like amazing because the graphics were so much better. This was like 2003 or 4, not sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it's actual 3D units. Like I can actually control multiple buildings at once. I actually have more than 12 units in the control group. I thought it was like, really, really good. So I started playing off of that. But when StarCraft 2 came, I decided to stop being a map maker and just play the game.
It's cool.
Did you play Warcraft 2 competitively?
Warcraft 2, no.
Okay.
Warcraft 3, I ladder for fun.
I did some 4v4.
Whoa.
I did some
Whoa.
4v4s. Warcraft 3, it's some good times. Like,
You guys heard that sound too, right? That
Yeah.
wasn't just me.
yeah, I heard it.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Warcraft 3, like when it first came out, it was like having like the hero units. Like I was not competitive, and I'm sure it got really weird and just like with hero units at like the very high level of play. But like the very beginning of the game, like right when it got released, like hero units were so much fun. Like in 1v1s, some
Oh,
really
man.
good times.
Warcraft 3, the best part about Warcraft 3 was not ladder, but simply the custom games. Like uncontested custom games in Warcraft 3 was so much better than StarCraft 2. Like no question.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's
Sorry,
a lot.
guys.
Felt like there's
Yeah.
way more people playing them too. Like and that
Yeah.
kind of like there's something about playing something that a lot of people are playing that makes it more fun for some reason. I don't
There
know.
were so many people in Warcraft 3 that just played Warcraft 3 for they just played just for the customs, not because of the ladder or anything.
Yeah. Competitive play definitely. I mean, it was there, but it definitely took a sidestep too. Especially when Dota came out. Oh my god! Like people went from being competitive teams to competitive Dota teams. It was a really weird transition to watch happen too. Because when it happened, I was like, why are people playing a map competitively? This is never gonna work. Well, I was wrong. I can see that now.
Yeah, because it had a very unique metagame about Dota. That's why it was such a competitive game. It was really, really interesting to watch. Like, if I had to go back to Warcraft 3 just for the customs, I probably would. Like, if they came over to, like, StarCraft 2, that would be, like, fantastic. Like, I remember one custom games in Warcraft 3 called Elimination Tournament. I'm not sure if you know that.
Mm.
But it's kind of like paintball, but not really paintball. It's, like, with actual guns. And you do, like, capture the flag, all that stuff.
Wasn't it like a copy of the sniper games from Brood War?
I
VTech
don't-
paintball?
It's not okay. In the arcade, there is a paintball game, but you die in like one shot. But in Warcraft 3, it was just much better. The maps are just way better designed. Like, I just wish every Warcraft 3 map that's so popular just transferred over to StarCraft 2.
Well, there's something off with the way StarCraft 2 maps are made. I've noticed this because every map that I've played, I don't know if it's the map makers, I think it might be, or if it's like the actual makeup of the game. But the way you play on like the Dota clones, or what is it? What is the one that the people from Dota made? Something of the SOTI or something? I can't remember what it stands for. But anyways, those don't feel right. Like the Footman Frenzy copies don't feel right. There's something off. I don't know.
Maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe there's things that got improved on, but that kind of takes away from the experience that you had before with the old ones.
Maybe.
There are so many games that like throughout my life that I wish I could go back in time and play when that came out with like the knowledge that I had then, because even though some things can be really nostalgic if you go back and play games, you can never have like the same feelings that you had the first couple of times, like the first time you played it, you know.
Sure.
And it's nice when really good games come along and you can get that feeling and you recognize that you have that feeling while you're playing it, like Skyrim or something.
See, I like Skyrim, but it doesn't hold the same appeal to me as Oblivion did, just because they limited so many other things for it. I mean,
Yeah, I liked Oblivion a lot too. It was really similar for me. I had the same kind of experience.
Oh, I guess this is a good question to ask. One thing I've never really understood is like how much time do other people invest into other games? Like personally, for me, if I play video games, it's StarCraft.
Yeah, I used to play a lot.
I haven't played anything else even semi-seriously, like more than an hour every 2 weeks for months and months and months. So.
Well, I mean, I think to play StarCraft at like a Masters or a GM level, you really can't play other games that often because it's not really a casual game at all. So it's not like Call of Duty where you can just go on, rape some noobs and move on. You kind of have to commit a ridiculous amount of time to this game if you want to get anywhere. So.
Are you saying that Call of Duty at the highest level is a casual game, or do you?
Pretty much, yeah. I played Call of Duty and I was at that. Yeah, I mean, I played Call of Duty and I was at that. I was like really good at Call of Duty and it only took a year. Like to be good at StarCraft, it would take a lot longer than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, Counter-Strike Counter-Strike was never quite the same. 1.6, I don't know how Go is, and that's really Counter-Strike and Quake are the only two FPSs that I ever took seriously, other than Unreal Tournament, 2K4, 2K3. So that's just me. I don't know. I don't find FPS is something that you're either good at or you're not. To me,
yeah, that's another thing. It's not like you can StarCraft. I think anyone can get really good at StarCraft if they committed enough time. But Call of Duty, I don't know. I think there's a natural talent you also have to have.
I feel that though, it depends. I feel like if you've played enough FPSs, it's really easy to jump in to a new FPS and do really well because there's so many things that are so similar, just with where you aim your gun when you're going around corners, and just the kind of weird mind games that you have around corners and things like that. It all translates so well, and it's almost everybody's played a lot of FPSs, so I feel that I don't know. I feel that there aren't a lot of games there aren't a lot of RTS games where it's much more rare that you've played a fair amount of RTS games and are really experienced with that kind of mindset, and then jump into a new RTS that comes out and do really well.
Unless you're a pro. I mean, most of the pros come from either Warcraft 3 or Brood War backgrounds.
That's true.
It shows. I stopped playing Brood War and I stopped playing Warcraft 3. I stopped playing RTSs altogether back in 2007, 2008 maybe. And man, I came back to StarCraft 2 4 years later and I literally forgot everything. I started in Bronze. It was bad. Yeah, it was really bad. But
plus, you're a lot older too. That much of a break.
Yeah.
You come into it with way more life experience, and you just have so many different things bouncing around your head compared to what you did when you were playing RTS before that.
Yeah,
I don't
it kind of pisses me off because I remember in Brood War, when Boxer was first starting to get big, and I would go over his replays, and somehow I remember I would recreate his replays within a day. Like, I would recreate the build orders completely, and I completely lost that. I was like, man, if only I would have tried at Brood War when I was 12. But I was 12, so
Yeah. Regrets. It's
yeah,
so easy in hindsight.
yeah.
You guys ever
We'll
tried
be
that?
astronauts.
You guys ever tried the custom, what's called Fun or Not?
Mm-mm.
You mean the
No.
category, or
So you never tried Fun or Not in custom arcade?
no?
Okay, well, you guys should consider trying it out because it's how does it work? You can do it yourself or you can do it with a party. Basically, you play a randomized custom game, and after you play the game, you rate the map. You put a review on it. So that way, if it becomes popular, it will be up in the headlines. If it's not, it will be pretty much at the bottom.
It kind of sucks that you're taking a risk though that it might not be fun, right? You know?
Yeah.
Like, you'd actually have to work for the community and like try to help figure out if these things are good so they get promoted.
Yeah, but not many people do it though.
Yeah, I think
But what happened to
I
goals
wish-
being at the top of the list, or
But-
like there being 50 games of Dota, man? The community is supposed to do the work for me, right?
right.
If you
Yeah.
if everything you see about the popular maps that Blizzard feature came from Fun or Not. So
Wow. So that's like, so there's a handful of people that are doing that and that are really affecting like what is popular by like a large amount.
yeah. But people like I bet you like everyone in the stream chat they only know like maybe five custom games at the five custom games at the most.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I know. Haunted Forest, Rainer Party,
Star Strikers.
Star Strikers.
Man, I want to
Oh,
play some Rainer Party. That's always fun.
I miss Bounds. Bounds were always fun.
I
I don't know if any of you guys played Brood War, use map settings, but
Oh man, everyone in chat is making
All I
posting
remember
like,
is like Tag and VTech Paintball from Brood War use map settings.
everyone in the chat is using my trademark, my smiley face hands.
well, I guess enough reminiscing.
All right, I guess we should probably wrap it up. It's been about 2 hours, so
All right.
so if anybody wants to give it out any shout outs, I'll start with I'll just go around the thing clockwise. So I'll start with Yosh.
All right. Well, I guess obviously Eternity Gaming. I'm gonna go ahead and thank our sponsors. Gorilla. We just picked up Gorilla Lol. Also, Ozone, of course, is one of our main sponsors, and then Esports Clothing. We also have Snowblind Design for our websites. Thank you guys. And I think that should be about it.
All right, Brent, what do you got?
I guess I kind of just want to thank everybody that like keeps me company while I stream. All my viewers, it's nice even through the rage. I appreciate it, And thanks for having me on the show too.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
Yumi, what do you got?
Well, it's my turn.
Yep.
What do I say again?
Whatever you want. This is your time, baby. You do what you want.
I guess the first thing I will say is, for people who don't know, I am working on a very special guide. It's a guide where you read it, you follow it, and within 30 days, you're going to improve pretty significantly, possibly to the point where you will promote to the next league. I already had one tester that went up to Masters just reading my guide already, so it's pretty cool.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
Where did he start?
Where did I start?
Where did
Where did the
the
guy that
It's like
start?
P90X.
was he
Kinda.
diamond or was he platinum or
He was in diamond, but he went to Masters.
very cool?
He just
It's a
followed
pretty big
and-
jump,
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But like I said, it's incomplete. It's not coming out anytime soon. But I will post maybe tomorrow for more testers, because my current testers half of them are lazy as hell. Like they just read it and then they stop after like maybe 2 days, and they're like, it just shows me that half of them are lazy, and the other 4 people that actually try, like they actually improve significantly, which was really really cool. But yeah, it's not meant for like, it's not like, I mean, I guess you could kind of compare me to Filter. Like if you look at Filter stuff, Filter teaches you just raw mechanics really. Like,
Is it going to be for any race or just Terran?
it's just for Terran, but my target goal is like somewhere between like gold to like gold and above. That's like the target level. But the point is, I'm not teaching like just raw mechanics like what Filter would be doing. I'm essentially teaching the strategic part and the things that would make sense. Like it'll basically, you could say it's like a blueprint, a foundation. Like you're a traveler reaching your destination, and I am the map. You'll only get there by your own effort, but I'll show you the way.
You could take a horse to water.
Yeah, so you don't have to experiment, all that stuff on ladder. Just follow it, and bam, like you get better. So I'm working on that, and I will make a Reddit post maybe tomorrow on all things Terran, about more testers, and there will be more testers. But it's not like a complete product yet. It's like very very small. And aside from that, I am a streamer. If you guys want to watch to learn, that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, that's me.
Cool.
I'll link we should link our streams in the chat, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and Artosis is streaming, so you guys should go check that out if you're not going to hit any of these fellows up.
And Imarine's got to do his shout-outs.
I guess
Yeah.
if we're gonna let him talk.
See you
Ugh.
guys later.
I mean, shout out to everyone that watched the first, episode of Saturday Night Pie. You guys are awesome. Definitely all my supporters that tuned in. That was really cool to see you guys in chat. And just, shout out to the StarCraft community in general. You guys have been, sometimes you can be kind of sucky, but overall, you guys have been pretty awesome. So I appreciate all the support that I've gotten from the community.
Yeah.
And of course, to Messon for letting me come on stream.
Oh yeah, people saying if you pay it, no, it's not paid or anything. It's free. It's like very very elaborated.
Dude, you just ruined the best ad campaign ever. Like for the P90X StarCraft, you just ruined it right there.
It's not called. I can't rename it P90X anymore. I will probably name it like T30X or something.
Anymore?
Oh, there's a reason why. Because P90X.
You were naming it P90X?
No, I mean I just did it as a joke, but apparently a lot of people are serious about it, so I have to put my effort in. Like,
I would okay.
I was gonna say you should start using that. You already were. Dang.
but it's really been killing me because I haven't been able to stream or play because I've been working on this guide for so long.
Well, it'll probably be pretty good then.
Yeah. And wow, I just realized we got 110 people during.
Yeah,
It's
we
pretty decent.
probably shouldn't have done
And
that
Artosis.
during Pro League.
Whatever. Pro League.
It is only EGTL, and I hate
Who-
to say that, but
Yeah,
Who cares? Who cares about
it's
Pro
only
League?
the only thing people are gonna tune into if they like EG.
It's so funny.
Whatever. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks to everybody who watched. I think I might put it up on YouTube too. I guess probably. I should probably do that. I should have made
Yeah.
a recording. I'll just have to port it over from Twitch or something. Figure out how this stuff goes. Thanks for everybody who waited for like 30 minutes or whatever while I tried to figure out the technical on all of this. And once again, thanks to all the guests for volunteering your time to show up for the show. I do appreciate it. Love to everybody and upvotes, I guess, still, even if Reddit loves me or hates me or whatever they're doing. All right, thanks guys.